2081, and everybody was finally equal. They weren't only equal before God and the law, they were equal every which way. Nobody was smarter than anybody else. Nobody was better looking than anybody else. Nobody was stronger or quicker than anybody else. All this equality was due to the 211, 212, and 213 amendments to the Constitution and to the unceasing vigilance of agents of the United States Handicapper General. Some things about living still weren't quite right though. April, for instance, still drove people crazy by not being springtime. And it was in that clammy month that the HG men took George and Hazel's Bergeron 14-year-old son, Harrison, away. It was tragic, all right, but George and Hazel couldn't think about it very hard. Hazel had a perfectly average intelligence, which meant she couldn't think about anything except in short bursts. And George, while his intelligence was way above normal, had a little mental handicap radio in his ear. He was required by law to wear it at all times. It was turned into a government transmitter every 20 seconds or so. The transmitter would send out some shock noises to keep people like George from taking unfair advantage of their brains. George and Hazel were watching television. There were tears on Hazel's cheeks, but she'd forgotten for the moment what they were about. On television, there were ballerinas. A buzzer sounded in George's head. Thoughts fled in a panic like bandits from a burglar alarm.
A real pretty dance that they just did. Huh? Dance they just did. It was real pretty.
Said Hazel.
Huh?
Said George.
That dance they just did?
Said Hazel.
Yep.
Said George. Think a little about the ballerinas. They weren't really very good, no better than anyone else would have been anyway. They were more birded with sash weights and bags of birdshot, and their faces were masked so that no one seeing a free and graceful gesture or a pretty face would feel like something the cat drug in. George was toying with the vague notion that maybe dancers shouldn't be handicapped. But he didn't get very far with it before another noise in his ear radio scattered his thoughts. Hazel saw him wince, having no mental handicap herself. She had to ask George what the latest sound had been.
Sounded like somebody hitting a milk bottle with a ball-peen hammer. I think it'd be real interesting hearing all the different sounds.
Said Hazel, a little envious.
All the things they think of.
Said George.
Only if I was the handicapper general. You know what I would do?
Said Hazel. Hazel, as a matter of fact, bore a strong resemblance to the handicapper general, a woman named Diana Moon Glampers.
If I was Diana Moon Glampers?
Said Hazel.
I'd have chimes on Sunday, just chimes, kind honor of our religion. Maybe we'll make them real loud.
Said Hazel.
I think I'll make a good handicapper general. Good as anybody else.
Said George.
Boy,
Said Hazel.
that was a doozy, wasn't it?
It was such a doozy that George was white and trembling, and tears stood on the rims of his red eyes. 2 of the 8 ballerinas had collapsed to the studio floor, were holding their temples.
All of a sudden you look so tired.
Said Hazel.
Why do you stretch out on the sofa so you can rest your handicap bag on the pillow, honey bunch?
Is referring to the 47 pounds of birdshot in a canvas bag which was padlocked around George's neck.
Audio Jungle. Today on breaking news, we just got word that Harrison Bergeron for you. Okay, thank you. Today, Harrison Bergeron has escaped prison. He is deadly. Beware him, okay?
I am the Emperor. I shall now select my Empress. Was good.
Not on my watch. I'm gonna go get a beer from the fridge.
George said.
What happened? I don't remember. Who knows better what? You've been kind of tired, Anthony.
Everybody else. All this equality was due to the 211th, 212th, and 213th amendments to the Constitution, and to the.
Bro!
I don't know how to say that. We can...
Right.
Said George.
Oh my! That was a real pretty.
You have the gun in your hand.
Yeah. That dance just did. It was real pretty.
Hazel said.
Huh?
George said.
That dance they just did?
Hazel said.
Yup.
George said.